The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
All right, good evening and welcome to the first Weyburn City Council of 2025. It's exciting. We're 2 months to the day from the day that this council was elected, so I think everybody's settling into their roles as much as we can. Big night tonight. We're going to do our youth council tonight. We're going to do a zoning amendment for a new business, and we're also going to start talking about this year's budget. So let's get to work. First off, I would look for a motion to approve the minutes from the December 9th meetings.
Your Worship, I'll make the motion that the minutes of the regular council meeting and the Strategic Planning and Priorities Committee meeting held December the 9th, 2024 be approved.
Your Worship, I would second that motion.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Any additions to the agenda? Administration?
Yeah, Your Worship, there's no additions tonight from administration.
Thank you. Council? Nope. Good. Okay, just as a notice, we will have two public hearings tonight. First public hearing will be regarding bylaw 2024-3490. That is the bylaw to close access to Queen Street. Second public hearing will be bylaw 2024-3491. That is a zoning bylaw amendment. There's two actually for that one. So those will be the two, and those will happen later on when we get to them on the agenda. So if anybody wants to start getting their notes ready, that would be the time. Okay. Delegations, proclamations, and petitions. I believe there are none tonight. So here we go. Next up is the consent agenda. Inside of that, the building report, the fire chief's report, and the public works report. Can I get a motion to approve those as presented, please?
Worship, I move that the following items on the consent agenda be approved: the building report for December, the fire chief report for December, and the public works report for December.
Thank you. And a seconder?
I'll second that.
Whoa. It's not an auction.
Sorry, John. Did you jump up?
I didn't realize this motion was that interesting. Thanks, guys.
Councillor Corrigan, you'll second that?
I would, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any questions on those reports? Hearing none? All in favor? Good. And as always, those will be available on the city website if anyone is interested in reading them. Okay, next up, we have a couple of things to do. First off is our accounts payable. We need a motion for that.
Your Worship, I'll make the motion that the purchase from December 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024 in the amount of $2,214,252.90 be approved for payment. The purchases include quick pays at $790,003.95, accounts payable at $1,227,100.21, direct withdrawals of $506,202.40, and debit card transactions of $4,226.79.
Thank you. And a seconder?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thanks. Any questions? If not, all in favor? Good. Thank you. All right, that's the boring stuff. Now let's get into some exciting stuff. Next up is our youth council appointment. So we'll have Councillor Sidlowski, you're going to lead us through this one? Yeah. Thank you.
All right. The Weyburn Youth Council serves as a platform for young leaders to actively contribute to the community through their municipal governance. Weyburn's Youth Council's purpose is to encourage youth participation, engage leaders of the future, and provide an opportunity to directly communicate with the City of Weyburn Council and staff. Our youth councils take part in city council meetings, gain an understanding how municipal government works, and represent the voice of Weyburn's youth on a number of important topics. Each new school year, council appoints 5 representatives from Weyburn Comprehensive School in grades 10, 11, and 12 to have a voice in their local government and affect change in our community. The names put forward for Youth Council this year are Jackson Stadnick, Youth Mayor, he's in grade 12. Yuan Presto, secretary. She's also in grade 12. Harper Williams, grade 11. Marissa Erasmus, grade 10. And Bailey Roy, grade 10. Do you guys want to come up and come forward? So I recommend that council appoints the students listed above to the 2024-2025 Weyburn Youth Council. And if it's all right with you, Your Worship, I will make a motion.
Yeah.
I make a motion that the following individuals be appointed to the 2024-2025 Weyburn Youth Council. Jackson Stadnick as youth mayor, Yuan Presto as secretary, Harper Williams, Marissa Erasmus, and Bailey Roy.
All right, can I get a seconder for that?
Your Worship, I am pleased to second this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Jenke. I don't imagine there's discussion, but I'll certainly open it up for discussion from the councillors first. No? Thank you for taking over. I've been involved with this all of its 8 years, and I've just aged out. I've just aged out of youth council this year, so thank you, guys. And I understand, well, I guess I'll call the question first. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Your Worship. I was just going to make a comment. Congratulations to you guys. Good work, and the community should be proud of you for the work that you do, helping the community at this level. So thank you.
Yeah, agreed. Anybody else? All right. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Now, our youth, yes. Our youth mayor is going to say a few words. Go ahead, Mayor Stadnick. Yep.
Good evening, Mayor Richards, members of City Council, and everyone else in attendance. On behalf of the City of Weyburn Youth City Council, I want to thank you for this opportunity to serve our community and represent the voices of its youth. We are honored to have the support of Council, and we are excited to build on the work of past City of Weyburn Youth Councils. Together, we hope to tackle issues that matter to us, share new ideas, and collaborate on ways to make Weyburn an even better place to live. Community starts here, with us, the youth. We will work hard to inspire others our age, to shape a future that reflects the values of everyone in Weyburn, and as we take on these responsibilities, we are committed to representing our peers and making a difference for our entire community. Thank you for believing in us and giving us this platform to create change. We look forward to working alongside City Council, City staff, and the community of Weyburn. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, you guys, for your service. It's awesome. I'm very proud of it. And thank you, Councillor Sedlowski, also, for your work on that. Okay, I think that's that for that, right? Yeah, good. All right, on to no introduction of bylaws tonight. So we will go on to unfinished business. So first off is the as I said, the 2024 3490 Queen Street access closure. So we will first ask the Director of Engineering to present the report.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Queen Street Railway crossing has been identified as not meeting Transport Canada's standards. A review of this railway crossing was completed by KGS Group in 2016, and again as part of the Regional Transportation Study in 2019. Both of these reports recommended a closure or restricted access of the Queen Street crossing due to it not complying with the current standards. From CP Rail data, Queen Street since 2017 is the only railway crossing in Weyburn city limits to have a train vehicle incident during this time period. Since 2010, the Queen Street crossing has 10 struck vehicle incidents from the Transport Canada's rail network database, with the most recent incident occurring on November 6, 2024. In 2021, the Saskatchewan Ministry of Highways and Infrastructure held an open house and had a public survey requesting feedback on potential improvements to the intersection of Highway 13 and Highway 39. In 2022, the ministry started design work for a roundabout at this intersection. The project includes the widening of Highway 39 at the Queen Street entrance. The Ministry of Highways and Infrastructure plans are attached. Below is Figure 1, showing the aerial image of the subject area. On November 15th, 2024, the Ministry of Highways provided the Director of Engineering with an update on the Highway 13 and 39 roundabout project. The tender for the twinning and roundabout was issued in November 2024 with a late December award. The ministry plans to have the Queen Street crossing approach removed on the north side of Highway 39 in March 2025 before the Highway 13 and 39 detours are implemented. The plan to close the Queen Street access prior to implementing the detour for the roundabout construction is to restrict vehicles from using Queen Street as an alternate route due to the safety issues already present at the rail crossing. The ministry would be responsible for providing all the construction services and coordination with CPKC, formerly CP Rail, for the portion of Queen Street within the Highway 39 right-of-way, south of the railway, due to the planned widening of Highway 39 at this location. The ministry proposed to provide services to remove the portion of Queen Street on the north side of the railway at the same time, leaving Queen Street as a dead end at the A&B Concrete south property line. The ministry requested direction from the City of Weyburn on the portion of Queen Street north of the railway before March 2025. After Council gave first reading to Bylaw 2024-3490, Queen Street Railway Crossing Closure, at the December 9th, 2024 regular Council meeting, public notices went out in accordance with the City's public notice policy. Notices were advertised in the December 11th and December 18th, 2024 editions of the Weyburn Review, posted at City Hall and on the City website. Additionally, neighborhood notices were mailed to all property owners within a 75-meter radius of the property. On December 11th, 2024, a response was received from Bill Volbrecht regarding the location of the closure. He requested that the closure be moved to the north property line, to his north property line at Regina Avenue, shown below in Figure 2. To restrict vehicle traffic from entering and using his property as a shortcut or turnaround point. On December 13th, 2024, the city issued a neighborhood notice to the two adjacent properties notifying of the proposed change of location of the closure. No responses were received. Below is Figure 2, the proposed closure location at Regina Avenue, or between Regina and Highway 39. So option 1, Council gives second and third reading to Bylaw 2024-3490, being a bylaw to authorize the closure of a portion of Queen Street legally described as ORA 56-8-14-2, extension 0, with the location between Highway 39 and A&B Concrete south property line. Option 2, Council gives second and third reading to Bylaw 2024-3490, being a bylaw to authorize the closure of a portion of Queen Street legally described as ORA 56-8-14-2, extension 0, with the location of the closure between Highway 39 and Regina Avenue. So it's recommended that council does option 2. Council gives second and third reading to bylaw 2024-3490, being a bylaw to authorize the closure of a portion of Queen Street legally described as ORA 56-8-14-2 extension 0, with the location of the closure between Highway 39 and Regina Avenue.
Good. Thank you, Renee. So before we can do any readings, we have to declare our public hearing open. So I guess I'm doing that now. So anybody that has commentary or questions or concerns or whatever that might be about this particular bylaw change, or more so, I guess, the closure of that Queen Street access, we would ask you to come forward now and do that. In the process of doing that, we need you to identify yourself so we can get that on record. Is there like a Jeopardy kind of thing that happens here? My discretion. Well, just looking at the crowd, I don't expect that anybody here is to speak to this. So I'll call it once, twice, 3 times. This will be the last call for commentary on this one. Okay. Hearing none, I'll declare that public hearing closed. And it is my understanding that council wishes to proceed with the second reading tonight. So does somebody have that motion?
Your Worship, I do. That council gives second reading to bylaw 2024-3490 to authorize the closure of a portion of Queen Street legally described as ORA 56-08-14-2 extension 0, with the location of the closure between Highway 39 and Regina Avenue.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you. Okay, any questions, commentary, or debate from council on this? All right, hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Right. And so I believe the direction is we would take the third reading back now to the January 27th meeting, correct? That's the wishes? Very good. Okay. So we will move on to, let me flip my page over, 9B. This is bylaw 2034. This is the zoning amendment, and I believe I will let our planning and development coordinator, Malcolm, take over on this one.
A zoning bylaw amendment application and corresponding official community plan amendment application has been submitted by Derek Schenner. The amendment is to allow for the consolidation and rezoning of lots 411 Elmer Street, lot 2526, block 3, plan AZ 357, 409 Elmer Street, and that's lots 27 and 28, Block E, Plan AZ 357, and 415 Almer Street, and that's lots 24 and 32, Block A, Plan AZ 357, for the development of a tire repair shop, and lot 916 First Avenue Northwest, and that's lots 15 to 17, Block A, Plan AZ 357 for advertisement purposes. These properties were city-owned. After council gave first reading at the December 9th, 2024 regular council meeting, public notices went out in accordance with the city's public notice policy. Notices are advertised in the December 11th and December 18th, 2024 editions of the Weyburn Review, posted at City Hall and on the city website. Additionally, neighborhood notices were mailed out to property owners within a 75-meter radius of the property. No responses were received. The proposal is for Derek Schenner to build a tire repair shop on parcel A, which we have identified in the image below, and advertise on parcel B. The applicant is proposing to consolidate lots 409 to 415 Almer Street and rezone it to light industrial to allow the building of his intended tire repair shop. Lot 916 First Avenue will be used for advertising. No physical development has been proposed for that parcel. The OCP and zoning amendments are required to facilitate both developments, as the subject properties are currently zoned parks and open space and mixed use, which limits commercial development. The properties currently have both parks and open space land as well as mixed-use designation. The applicant is requesting that the lands be designated light industrial on the land use map of the official community plan. The purpose of this designation is to provide light industrial lands to businesses that require it. And for zoning, the properties are currently zoned parks and open space as well as mixed-use district. The applicant has requested that the lands be rezoned to light industrial zone, which would allow for a tire repair shop as a permitted use, as shown below in the table. The official community plan amendments must be approved by the Minister of Government Relations. After final reading of bylaw 2023 3492, it will be submitted to the province. My apologies, it should be 2024. It will be submitted to the province for ministerial approval. Both bylaws will take effect upon ministerial approval. So council options, option 1, council holds a public hearing regarding bylaws 2024 3491 and 2024 3492 to hear any concerns or comments from interested parties. Council gives second and third reading to bylaw 2024 3492, being a bylaw to amend the official community plan to designate the above mentioned lands as light industrial on the future land use and land use designation map. Council gives second and third reading to bylaw 2024 3491, being a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw to rezone the above mentioned lands from parks and open space and recreation zone and mixed use district to light industrial zone. Council directs administration to submit bylaws 2024 3491 and 2024 3492 to the Minister of Government Relations for approval. Option 2, council refuses to give second and third reading to bylaw 2024 3491 and 2024 3492 and direct administration to advise the applicant of the refusal based on the following reasons. Any officer making a motion for refusal shall provide reasons for the refusal. So staff recommendation, option 1, that council gives second and third reading to both bylaws 2024 3491 and 2024 3492 to amend the official community plan and zoning bylaw as mentioned above.
Thank you, Shar. Good report. Okay, this one the same as the last one. Before we can go on with any more readings, we will hold a public hearing. So I will advise that the public hearing for bylaw 2024 3491 and 2024 3492 are now open. So if anybody has any comments or questions or concerns regarding that, now's the time. Come up to the microphone. Please identify yourself if you do so. Okay, I'm not seeing a lot of action, so going once, call it twice, third time, that's it. I will declare that public hearing closed. I thank everybody, and thank you for your work on this, Shar. I know this one has been a long drive for you, so thank you very much. That's it, so we can proceed with the next readings, if somebody has those. Thanks.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would move that council gives second reading to bylaw 2024-3491, being a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw to rezone the above-mentioned lands from parks, open space and recreation zone, and mixed-use district to light industrial zone.
Thank you. And a seconder?
I'll second it, Your Worship.
Thanks. Any comments from council or concerns? Or hearing none? Call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. All right. Third reading.
Your Worship, I would move that council gives third reading and pass pass bylaw 2024-3491, being a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw to rezone the above-mentioned lands from parks, open space, and recreation zone and mixed-use district to light industrial zone.
Good. Seconder?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Morissette. And I'll ask one more time, is there any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor? That's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Lots of work. All right. On to new business. We have a Weyburn, oh, sorry. No, I think, oh, you've got one more. Pardon me. Thanks, Councillor Morissette.
Your Worship, I move that council give second reading to bylaw 2024-3492, being the bylaw to amend the official community plan to designate the above-mentioned lands as light industrial and on the future land use and land use designation map.
Right. Thank you. And a seconder?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any comments on this one or questions? Yes, Councillor Morissette.
Thank you, Your Worship. Shar, I don't mean to catch you off guard, but this is something that we're doing in the process to make sure that Mr. Schenner has the opportunity to go ahead with any plans that he has with this property. Oh, sorry. This process is necessary to make sure that the zoning is correct for Mr. Schenner to do any building on that property, correct?
Yes, that is correct. It is a requirement for him.
Good. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Did we get a seconder? No. Okay, very good. All in favor? Thank you. Continue.
Your Worship, the council give third reading to pass bylaw 2024-3492, being a bylaw to amend the official community plan to designate the above-mentioned lands as light industrial and on the future land use and land use designation map.
Thank you. And a seconder?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thanks, Councillor Higgs. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Now I think I can move on. Very good. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Okay, yeah, we do have a request for a utility board hookup for commercial water. City Manager, are you leading us through that one?
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. So the Weyburn Utility Board has requested approval for a hookup for a new commercial water service. The owners have confirmed satisfactory sewage disposal arrangements for that property. The commercial water service is for a retail store. Based on the estimated demand, the city can handle additional requirements on our water system. It is our recommendation that the following request be approved by council for commercial water service hookup. So this is from the Weyburn Livestock Feeds Limited, which is for the Cowtown property, which is lot 4, block 1, plan 101-882426. And their location's at 73 22nd Avenue Southeast. So the application fee for this is $25,000, and it does apply because it's a commercial application.
Okay, thank you. Does somebody have a motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion that the following request for Weyburn Livestock Feeds Limited, Cowtown, Lot 4, Block 1, Plan 101-882426 at 73 22nd Ave Southeast be approved for commercial water service.
Thank you. A seconder?
Your Worship, I will second that motion.
Thanks. Any questions on this? Comments? Anybody? Councillor Bador?
Just one question with the Weyburn Utility Board. How does that work with billing? I don't understand that quite.
So what happens for that is that we do readings. And so we have stuff that we can provide back to the utility board, and then they have their meters at those properties. So they do all the billing for those properties. We just set them up and go from there. But they make sure they put in the meters for all their properties that way, and then monitored.
Thank you very much.
And to answer how often they bill them, I don't know. I think it's every 2 months, I think they do billing. Ours is every month, but we do anything in the city.
Any other questions? No? Good. All right. I guess that's it. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right, and we continue on one last a piece here, and again, no, 2 pieces, but this is to Shara. Back to you with the home-based business application.
An application has been received from Kristen Buck to operate a home daycare out of their residence at 216 Onstead Crescent, legally described as Lot 2, Block 10, Plan 75R37762, located in the R2 zone. The business will operate Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. This would be considered a controversial use as the business involves clients being directed to the home throughout the day. The applicant anticipates a minimal traffic increase with 5 to 10 families attending the home for drop-off and pickup daily, and parking on the driveway is available. The zoning bylaw requires that controversial home-based businesses, which involves clients attending the home, go through a neighborhood notice process and receive council approval. Neighborhood notices were mailed out on December 19th, 2024 to all neighbors within a 50-meter radius of the applicant's home. Residents receiving the notice were given the opportunity to comment on the application. 2 concerns or objections were received. Neighbors mentioned if this business gets approved, there will be an increase in noise and traffic, as most neighbors are retired and stay home daily. The excess noise will disrupt their peace of mind. The home-based businesses are a permitted use, meaning that landowners have the right to undertake the use in accordance with the bylaw, unless provisions of the bylaw are specifically contravened. Home-based businesses generally must meet the following provisions: be incidental to the use of the premises as a residence, be compatible with residential use, be limited in extent in terms of volume of materials sold and number of clients, not substantially increase the volume of traffic, and not detract from the residential character of the zone. The use identified would be considered a controversial occupation under Section 5.1.19 of the zoning bylaw, as clients will be directed to the home. Staff have reviewed the application and are in the opinion that the home-based business application meets the requirements in the zoning bylaw, therefore recommending option 1 to council. So, option 1, council approves home-based business permit 2024.016 at 216 Onstead Crescent, subject to the following conditions. No person other than a resident of the dwelling unit shall be engaged in the home-based business as an employee or volunteer. No advertisement carrying the address of the dwelling in which a home-based business occurs may be placed in any media. The home-based business shall not occupy more than 25% of the gross floor area of the dwelling unit. The face of any home-based business sign on site must not exceed 0.092 square meters and must be placed within the inside half of the front yard setback. This permit is only valid for the above address and is not transferable to another address. Reapplication will be required if the business moves locations. In accordance with the Child Care Act, no more than 8 children, including the children of the care provider, may be cared for in the residence at one time. Provincial regulations and licensing requirements must be followed where applicable. Home-based businesses are subject to periodic review to ensure compliance. Applicant's driveway shall be used for off-street parking of clients, and the City of Weyburn business license shall be obtained prior to the operation of the home-based business. Option 2, refusal of the home-based business permit 2024.1016 at 216 Onstead Crescent for the following reasons. A permitted use must have a reason for refusal. Staff recommendation, option 1, council approves a home-based business permit 2024.016 at 216 Onstead Crescent, subject to the conditions listed above.
Thanks, Shar. So can we get a motion to get this on the floor?
Your Worship, I'll make the motion that council approves the home-based business permit 2024.016 at 216 Onstead Crescent, subject to the conditions presented by Planning Development Officer Malcolm.
Thank you. And a seconder?
I will second that motion, Your Worship.
Thanks. Okay, open for comments. Anybody have a comment or a question? None? I have one only. Because there was some, I guess, concerns with this from a couple of residents based largely around traffic, I think, and it is, the way that this reads to me is that because it's daycare, people coming and going should be using the driveway, not parking on the street, and they shouldn't be likely staying there for very long. If a resident in that area felt that the traffic was, I guess, disruptive, or if there was problems with it, what would be their recourse? Who would they call? What would they do if they felt that it was problematic?
They would reach out to me on that, and then I will do my investigation.
You'll do one. Very good.
And review the permit.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. That's it. Call the question. All in favor? Very good. Thank you. All right. And I believe next up, yes, is the 2025 preliminary budget. Preface this only by saying normally we would be doing this a couple of months ago. We would be doing this normally in November of the previous year, but just because of the municipal election, that didn't happen for obvious reasons. So we're a little bit behind, but we're still taking very cautious steps going forward. So I will turn it over to the Director of Finance.
Thank you. Okay, so this is our preliminary budget for 2025. So our municipal budget serves as an outline for how the city comes, or how money that comes into the city of Weyburn should be spent to maintain and improve the city. Our strategic plan is set out by council's strategic direction, and priorities are established. The priorities establish the guidelines for the initial steps in preparing the annual operating and capital budgets. So we have a public engagement with an open house to be held on January 16th to allow the public the opportunity to ask questions and discuss with council the proposed preliminary budget. We're having it on the 16th and the 21st, I believe. So we do prepare a balanced budget. So with this approach, we try to maintain the tax policies to keep the city of Weyburn competitive. We balance the ratepayers' interests with continued growth, balance the department's request to continue with high level of service and programs, manage increases in supplies and capital costs, set out short and long-term plans, and we address the maintenance and replacement of major capital. So the city of Weyburn has three main funds that we operate under. So the general operating, the utility, and the landfill. So under each of those, there's an operating budget and a capital budget. So under the general operating, this includes the general government, police services, fire services, planning and development, leisure services, parks, engineering, public works, facilities, fleet services, and the infrastructure revitalization plan. So under utility, that's our water and sewer services, our water treatment plant, and under our landfill, this is to operate our landfill. So the general operations of the city are funded through tax revenue and grants, and the utility functions of the city are funded through user fees that are collected through utility billing, landfill fees, and we also receive some capital grants. So how the city is funded, so with the general operating, we have our property tax and grant in lieu. So this has been budgeted to be at $13.7 million. We've budgeted grant funding to be 5.8, fees and charges on services of just over 2 million, reserve funding of 426,000, investment income and other at 1.2 million to bring in $23,256,075. Our utility funding, we've budgeted to have fees and charges on services of just under 6.5 million, our grant funding at 550,000, and our reserve funding at 100,000 to bring in 7,139,500. And for our operating and our utility capital fund, we have reserve our internal loan funding as 1.8 million and transfers from operating at 2.8. So $4,739,425. So our total funding is just over $35 million. So everyone asked, how are our tax dollars allocated? So this is the percentage of the tax money that comes in, that 13.7 million that you see, how it pays for our expenses. So admin and finance is about 12%, police services is 21.55%, fire is 6.67%, planning and development 1.94%, leisure is 7%, parks at 6.8%, engineering 3.7%, public works at 13%, fleet services at 5.9%, infrastructure revitalization at 3%, and our facilities at 17.7%. So with this, we are proposing to have an increase in taxes of 6.2%, which will bring in an additional $660,000 in revenue. So with taking out where our other revenue sources come from, this shows a breakdown of the increase and how the 660 would be divided up. So our 2025 operating and capital, with the operating budget of 23 million and our capital budget of 2.8, that gives us a total budget for operating of 26 million. And we've shown out how it's divided up into wages is approximately 48%, utilities 4.72%, maintenance 21%, professional fees 9.47%. We have transfers to our reserves of 421,000. Operating that's funded by reserves is 426,000. Capital is funded by reserves 1.179. And capital funded through an external loan of 527,000. So a breakdown of our general operating fund. We've shown the 2023 actual, the 2024 budget, and the 2025 budget for comparison. Some of these, we've allocated the fleet and infrastructure and facilities within this fund. And so the comparisons have been updated for the 2023 actual and the 2024 budget. In prior years, we've just included them on their own, but we do transfers back and forth, so it makes more sense to keep them in just all as one. So a total revenue of 23 million, 23.5 million, and our total expenses are 23.3 million. So that leaves us with a surplus of 243. Our capital within the general fund is budgeted to be 2.85, and so then we have external financing or through our reserves of 2.6, and that brings us to a zero budget. So within our general capital fund, this is all of our capital that we have listed. So police is budgeting to purchase a new vehicle, fire, some hose adapters and fittings, parks, replace the boardwalk, and to do phase 1 of the Young Fellows Park. Facilities has the police station roof repair. Public Works is budgeting asphalt of 515,000, traffic lights of 300,000, the Highway 39 culvert with 600,000, and the storm water sanitary system modeling of 85,000. Within fleet, we've budgeted to have a tandem dump truck of 240,000 and the cold planer skid steer attachment for 25 to come up with 2.885 million. So within our utility and landfill funds, we've budgeted expenditures of 5.851 with it for the utility and water treatment plant, and the landfill of 1.4 million. And our capital within these is 4.6 million for a total budget of 11.87 million. We have transfers to reserves of 1.2. The operating funded by reserves is 550,000. Capital funded by reserves is 1.7, and we have budgeted for an external loan of just under 2.5 million. So a breakdown of these budgets. So we have grants coming in for 100,000, fees and charges of just under 6.5, internal transfers of 137 to get us to 6.726 million in revenue, and our expenditures are 7.276. That leaves us with a deficit before capital of 550,000, and our capital budget is 4.6. We do have funding coming from reserves for 500,000 and transfers to our capital for 418,000. With our internal loans of 1.7 and an external loan of just under 2.5 to bring us to financing of 5.5 million and to a zero budget. So within the utility and landfill capital, our capital projects budget is water replacements in 2 locations for 250,000 and 210,000, a sewer main replacement for 60,000, lift station 6 upgrades for 200,000, and lift station 1 upgrades for 2.1 million, for a total of $2.9 million. Within the water treatment plant, we have plant upgrades for 1.7 million, and that gives us a total of capital of 4.6 million. So to highlight each department, administration, so within our 2024 highlights, we had the municipal election. We've improved emphasis on our community engagement. We had funding to the Weyburn Humane Society for animal control and facility operations, the Weyburn Builds program, and the Show Home Incentive program, and commercial incentive programs, grants for residents and businesses, and we implemented the online payment on the city website. So our initiatives for 2025 is to continue our emphasis on the community engagement, continued funding to the Weyburn Humane Society, and continue funding for the Weyburn Builds, the Show Home Incentive Program, and the Commercial Incentive Program. And we have budgeted for some council chamber updates. Is any questions on the admin? Do you want to leave the questions till the end? Okay. All right, so within police services, their highlights for 2024 was a leadership transition. So Chief Brent Van de Seyt became the Weyburn Police Service Chief in August after Chief Blunden's departure. They expanded the force with provincial funding, added 2 new Weyburn Police Service officer positions. They have a community focus with supports to the groups like Envision, CMHA, Kids Sport, hosting bike rodeos and car seat clinics. Their specialized team, the Active K9, CTSS, JTST, and CIDEU units, trained and expanded capacity in 2024. If you want to know what all those are, Chief Van de Seyt will let you know. So their initiatives for 2025 is the next generation 911. So the NG 911 will route all calls through the Provincial Emergency Call Center in Prince Albert, bringing major changes to the Weyburn Police Service operations. Recruitment challenges are the Weyburn Police Service ended 2024 with 4 officer vacancies, so that's 17% of their officers, but aims to fill them by mid-2025 to maintain service levels. Their health and wellness focus, ensuring staff wellness is crucial for maintaining high quality service and performance. Training and equipment, so continuous training and proper gear remain essential for safe and effective policing. And here's a breakdown of their budget. Within the fire services, for 2024, the highlights were 4 new SCBA breathing apparatuses, approved installation of the air purification units with the fire hall and the Public Works mechanical bay. Their initiatives for 2025 are replacement of several fire hoses and couplers and fittings, focus on some cancer prevention, and the 1001 firefighter certifications. Leisure and parks. So in 2024, their highlights were the Youngfellow Park concept plan and funding agreement, strengthen community partnerships, staff safety training, and certification achievements. In 2025, their initiatives are the Weyburn Leisure Center planning, increased in major maintenance work at CPP and Tom Zandy Sports Arena, increased public library funding. It's up to $37.24 per capita. The City Art Collection appraisal, the Youngfellows Park development, enhanced turf maintenance, and weed control programs. Within the city, the facilities, the 2024 highlights, this is the Sioux Line Historical Museum roof replacement, the Tom Zandy Sports Arena roof replacement, the Weyburn Public Library roof replacement, transition to a more comprehensive preventative maintenance program, full air conditioning replacement at the Weyburn Police Facility. And in 2025, they have the air purification upgrades to the fire hall and the public workshop, roof maintenance program for citywide facilities, roof replacement at the Weyburn Police Building, roof replacement at the historical water tower, and enhanced preventative maintenance and asset management programs. You can see roof replacement is happening all around. Within planning and development for 2024, their highlights were the swimming pool bylaw came into effect, implementation of the portable sign permit stickers, submission of the district official community plan. And in 2025, their initiatives are completion of the offsite development levy study, construction of the Weyburn General Hospital Class 3 building inspections, electronic building inspections, and resubmission of the district official community plan. Within engineering, the highlights were the airport had 1,500 meters of crack sealing, 2,700 meters squared of asphalt repair along the apron 1. And in 2025, they are looking to fog seal and have asphalt repairs at the airport. The asphalt repairs are CAP funding dependent. Within Public Works, the 2024 highlights are traffic signal light replacement at First Avenue and Government Road, new traffic signal lights installed at First Avenue and 16th Street. This utilized $100,000 from the SGI Traffic Safety Fund grant. We had 13 blocks of new pavement on First Avenue from Government Road to 13th Street, and 235 meters of new concrete curbing and 475 meters squared of ped ramps within these blocks. Storm main replacement on 16th Street from Cotto Avenue to East Avenue. We had sidewalk replacements and accessible pedestrian ramps. In 2025, their initiatives are a traffic signal light replacement on 5th Street and First Avenue, and Highway 39 culvert replacement. This is a cost share with the Department of Highways. Within our fleet services, the 2024 highlights were the purchase of the trailer-mounted traffic message board. They received a new tandem dump truck and a new street sweeper. And for 2025, they have proposed to purchase a new tandem truck and a cold planer skid steer attachment. So within our infrastructure revitalization program, the 2024 highlights are 1 block of paving on Prairie Avenue from Government Road to Mergens, and 5 blocks of new pavement on Railway Avenue from 5th Street to 10th Street. Their 2025 initiatives are 5th Street Avenue paving from King Street to 5th Street, and King Street paving from 1st Avenue to 5th Avenue. This is UHCP funding dependent. In our utilities department, the 2024 highlights were the lagoon berm repairs at the treatment cells, water main replacement on Railway Ave from 8th to 10th Street. And in 2025, the initiatives are upgrades to the pump transfer station and inlets at the Equalization Lagoon, stormwater and sanitary system modeling, and water main replacements at Highfield Crescent and 4th Street. The water treatment plant for 2024, their highlights were commissioning and operation of the CO2 and ammonia systems to improve water quality and compliance with our permit, repairs on the Albert Douglas Dam as per the 2022 inspection. Their 2025 initiatives were continued repairs on the Albert Douglas Dam and the ammonia modifications. So the landfill had 2024 highlights were design of the engineered filling cell for the landfill and the landfill open house. And for 2025, their initiatives are construction of the engineered filling cell at the landfill. So how will the tax increase be collected? The tax revenue from mill rate increase for general operations will be $449,300, and the tax revenue from the base tax increase for our emergency services and snow removal are $210,700. So that equals a $50 increase in our base tax. The impact that it will have on a residential home that's assessed at $300,000. It's a $50 increase in base, a $65 increase in municipal mill rate tax, so a total of $115,000 for the year, so it's just under $10 per month. So as mentioned, we're planning on having an open house on January 16th and 21st at the Weyburn Leisure Center Sunroom, and I believe it's from 5 to 7 p.m. both days, so it gives the public the opportunity to engage and to provide feedback. And I believe on the website you can give public input at weyburn.ca/budget.
Okay, thank you, Laura. That was a lot. This is a big budget for us, so I would encourage, first off, just with the open houses, I would encourage the public to come to those and ask your questions. Get your questions in advance to the extent that you can. The city manager, I believe, at the open houses, you will have the directors present that are available anyways those nights as well, so that people's questions are answered.
Yes, Your Worship. So we'll actually have our Director of Finance, our Director of Engineering, our Director of Leisure Services, our Deputy Fire Chief, and then also, our Deputy Police Chief, and then our Fire Chief.
We'll all be in attendance, so if there's questions.
And Council as well.
And Council will be there as well. Thank you. All right, so we just go around the room. Does Council have any questions specifically regarding what we've seen tonight? Yes.
I have a couple of questions. First, Laura, I'm thoroughly impressed with your data visualizations. Great work there. Hopefully we'll have some of that same stuff for the public, because I think that's really great. It explains what's going on. Since we have both emergency services chiefs here, I wanted to just clarify, does NG 911 offer advantages for our community, or is this just something that's mandated by the province?
This is mandated across Canada. NG 911, Next Generation 911, basically all across Canada, the digital platform is being introduced, getting away from the analog. Well, the analog is going to be obsolete. It's going to be shut down. The effective date was going to be the end of March 31st of this year. I haven't heard anything since that, but there's still a lot of work to do for that to be implemented.
Are we happy to be moving to the new system, I guess is the question, or are we just doing it because we have no choice? Like, are there advantages?
We don't have any choice, so we are happy. No, there is great advantages to it. One of the biggest things is we'll have a CAD system in our cars now, so dispatch will go directly to the cars. Another one is, this is just news to me still, but I mean, as we get into it, I'm told one of the advantages is if somebody text messages to 911, but it's they do it in a situation where they don't want to reveal that they're texting, so they can text for help and then delete that message, but it's seen live by the 911 dispatchers. So that way it's a little protection for that person in that predicament. So there's a lot of advantages to it, but those are things that we'll see as it gets introduced.
Awesome. Thank you, Chief. That's pretty exciting.
Anything else, please?
Anybody else? Since the chief's up there, he loves taking these questions. No? Thank you, Chief.
If not, I have two questions for engineering. First, at a very high level, the money being spent on the dam is critical work that has to be done as soon as possible. Is that correct?
Yeah, those are the higher priorities in the 3 to 10-year plan that was as a result from the dam safety review. So that includes this year replacement of the stop logs, safety manual, repair of the riprap.
All right, excellent, thank you. And second question, if we do install new traffic lights at 5th Street, will they have the pedestrian flashers that the ones on some of the other new lights do not?
Yes, so if the 5th Street intersection traffic signal lights are replaced, they will have pedestrian crosswalk signals with push buttons. So they'll always say don't walk unless the push button is pressed if a pedestrian needs to cross.
Great, thank you so much. That's all from me, Your Worship.
That's it. Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah, Councilor Morissette.
Not really a question, just more of a huge thank you to all of our department heads. We sent out the request, cut your budget as much as you can, because we definitely don't want to have to raise taxes more than we have to, but you're doing the best with the money that you're given and keeping all of your employees safe and happy. So thank you to all of our directors. We couldn't do it without you.
Thank you. Councilor Higgs.
Just in regards to the facilities piece of the budget, I know there was several numbers in there, but the roof on for the police station is $795,000, but it's these are renovations or not upkeep to buildings plus the regular operations. Is that or that's just capital?
The 725 for that project that's budgeted is purely for capital for a full replacement.
But the overall budget, I guess. I can't remember what the capital number was that I didn't.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Just on the whole operating facilities budget is like 1.4 million or something. I don't have it in front of me, but are they all capitals?
Capital is 725,000.
Oh, okay. So I missed that.
The general operating is 4.138.
Okay, but that includes the water tower and some of those other projects.
Yep.
In that 4.2. Okay, no, that's good. It's a good way to break it out. And the other piece is only a comment that a lot of what we're doing is, when you see these numbers, is that it's literally behind the scenes stuff like repairing to the dam, lift stations. I mean, some of those bills are horrendous, but at the end of the day, if you don't have water to drink, things can go sideways pretty quick. So thanks for this.
Councilor Corrigan.
Thank you, Worship. No, more of a comment than question. Appreciate all the work that's gone into the budget to date. Again, just over the last couple of years, I think people have seen the investment that we've made in the community, more so with roads and those aspects. What's happening in this budget is more behind the scenes, as was mentioned by Councillor Higgs, but it involves water and sewer, and if we don't have those particular items operating at peak efficiency, we're going to run into trouble as a community. So there are investments that need to be made, and I look forward to the open houses and engaging with the community and answering any questions that they may have regarding the upcoming budget. So thanks again for all the work that's been put into this year's budget.
Thank you. Councillor Sedlowski, sorry I missed you.
No worries. This is for Renee. A lot of the budget work is prioritizing projects, and I think that some of these projects are mandated by the ministry or other entities. So could you speak to a couple of those just to give a better understanding to the taxpayers?
Yeah, sure. So water treatment plant and our wastewater treatment, which is our lagoons, are regulated by the Water Security Agency, so we have permit to operate, and we have requirements that we need to fulfill within those permits. So those are two major ones in the millions of dollars. Unfortunately, they are regulatory requirements, so it's required.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have comments or questions? No. Good. So that's the message. This is the budget as it's presented. You know, I want to echo just a few comments. Councillor Morissette's comment is valid. All the comments are valid, but I want to build on that. That we've asked administration to go back and cut and make deep cuts and be careful with their budget, but we've also said we have to get work done. And I think that's important. One of the reasons that we sometimes get ourselves into infrastructure deficit is because we kick the can down the road and we cut the budget, and you can only do that for so long. So I do believe what's been shared here tonight is a pretty balanced budget. And I don't mean that literally, I guess I mean that in a figurative sense, but literally it's a balanced budget too, because we're not allowed to have a deficit. But I would say also thank you to everybody for that. For all of your cuts and for being good stewards of our money, to all of the department heads, because that's important. So to the public, we'll see you hopefully is Thursday this week, Tuesday next week. Hope to see you out there. And is there anything else, I guess, to the Director of Finance or City Manager you wanted out of this presentation?
No, just the only thing for me, Your Worship, thanks, Council, for your comments towards administration tonight. We appreciate receiving direction on budget and you know, make sure we reach towards what we want to do strategically as a city. The one thing I do encourage the public is we'll have this information on our website. You know, we always want to make sure that information is readily available for people. So www.weyburn.ca/budget, all the information will be there, including this presentation from tonight, information on open house, all those different things. So that'll be updated and effective immediately after this meeting tonight. So we'll just make sure that people have those questions. And also to the public, please reach out to council members. If you have questions or anything you want to bring up about budget, they're your elected officials, so please take the time to reach out to them with any questions you may have.
Great, thank you. Okay, I think that's it. Let's do inquiries and announcements. Councillor Morissette.
Thank you. City Manager Warren stole my thunder. I was really just going to put it out there. January the 16th and the 21st at the Sunroom at the Weyburn Leisure Center, 5 to 7 p.m. If you can't make it out, please contact one of the council members or reach out to City Hall. It's really important that when we make the decisions, we have to have community input to make those decisions, to make sure everybody's voice is heard. So if you can't make it out to either one of those open houses, most definitely reach out to one of us, because again, that's the only way we know that you're not happy or you're happy with the decisions that we're making. And then the other one is a shout out to Renee and the entire engineering crew. Snow removal is fantastic. I know you guys do your best to battle Mother Nature, but it's been going really well. And you've been doing some pothole patching, which has made my drive a lot easier, so hopefully other residents feel the same way.
Thank you, Councillor Morissette. That means a lot. The crews are doing a fantastic job. I have a really good team. They're very good.
Yes, Councillor Sedlowski.
I just want to revisit the Queen Street closure and provide some additional context to earlier. Sure. The reason why we're giving it a second reading instead of moving directly to the third reading is that since this will represent significant change for some members of the community, we wanted to allow a little bit of extra time to ensure that everyone is fully informed about the upcoming change. So as such, we plan to hold the third reading at the next council meeting. Great. That's a little bit of context, I guess. And then the last thing I just wanted to say that the James Weir exhibit is open at the Spark Center, so please go down and vote if take the time to do so. Thank you.
Thank you for the comments on that Queen Street piece too. That needed to be said. My pothole work is an exhibit at the James Weir People's Choice exhibit. No, it's not. Anything else? Anybody else? Can members of the public ask questions in inquiries and announcements? Is that allowed?
You can, yeah, if there's something you want to ask.
Does anybody have any questions?
I do see there's a former member of council.
I did see there was a former member of, and he was just taking notes.
Yeah,
So I
see him
thought, oh
taking
boy,
notes
here we
tonight,
go. Yeah, so if you ask him now, then I won't hear him later, hey? No, I'm just kidding. Good, I think that's it. So we'll wrap it up if nobody has anything else. All right, that's the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
If you'd like to share your feedback on the program you just watched, contact us today